welcome back to the Girly Girl Bookworm. So today for you, I have my May wrap-up part 2. It's not the end of May, technically. It is May 28th. So technically there's 3 more days in May, but the end of May ends in the middle of the week, and I really don't think I'm going to have time to film next weekend. So I was like, while I have time, I'm going to film right now. So we're just going to roll whatever I don't finish now into the beginning of June. You're still going to see what I'm currently reading now, but we'll wrap you up in the June wrap-up instead. So let's just dive in. This has been such a weird month. I feel like I've either really enjoyed what I've liked or I really didn't. So let's just go in. So we read The Dream Builders. I'm not going to pronounce her name because I know I'm going to butcher it and I don't want to do that to her. So this book was sent to me by Aardvark, which was so kind. The cover is absolutely stunning. I also had an audiobook copy from Libro FM, so that is how I chose to read it, because I was looking for something and I needed something that I immediately had, and I had already had it downloaded, so I was like, perfect, I'm going to read it now. So this one was interesting. It's about a woman, and she originally lived in India. She goes over to America, and she's been living in America for a while, and her mother dies, and I believe she's like a writer, but I think she's also a professor, so her dad is like, hey, wait till the semester is done. Come visit me for the summer. You can stay with me for 3 months. Like, it'll be better if you wait. So she waits and she comes over. And there's so much, like, change in India because it's getting so globalized and, like, buildings are coming up. And it's just an India that she did not leave. Like, it is totally different. And we're following a bunch of different people. We're following it kind of centers around the fact that there's this building being built as a Trump Tower. And we're following 10 different people just to kind of get the idea of like how gender comes into play, and class and jobs and different things like that. And I gave it 2 stars, but I want to preface it with it's not necessarily a bad 2 stars. For most of the book, I was going to give it 3. Like, it started off really strong. I really enjoyed being in our main character's head. My problem is we jumped to 10 different people, and so it was really hard to follow somebody and like stay with their journey because you never knew when you were coming back to them again. So you couldn't necessarily get attached to their story because by the time you came back to them, you'd almost have to like reintroduce yourself to them all over again. I just wish that it focused on like 2 or 3 people and let everybody else be side characters because their story was important, but I don't necessarily felt like I needed to have their entire perspective of it. Because I really enjoyed our main character, and then there was another character that I really liked. And then by the end, I realized it was very emotional, and I wasn't emotional because I didn't have a true connection to any of them because there were so many of them. So unfortunately, I gave it 2 stars because that without being emotionally connected, like I didn't feel right giving it the 3rd star. But it had such important conversations and important dialogue about what was happening. So, like, it's still, like, I still think that you should check it out. Like, it's definitely a slower paced book. It's definitely people, character driven. There's, like, not, like, there is an end in sight, but, like, it's not necessarily a plot that keeps you going. So know that going into it, and I think that you could rather enjoy it. But like I said, I think with me, I just was missing that emotional connection that I wanted. So I couldn't give it 3 stars. But it was still a very solid read, even though I only gave it 2. So I don't want you to see 2 and be like, oh my god, she hated it. Like, I didn't hate it. I just wanted something more from it. Then I read The Eden Test by Adam Sternberg. Now, I'm shocked that I haven't seen more about this one because it was such an interesting dynamic of a book as well. We are following this couple. They've been married for, I think, 2 or 3 years. It was very confusing because at times they made it sound like they were married for 3, but other times it made it seem like they were together for 1, married for 2. So I was very kind of confused about their relationship timing-wise, but they're a very new couple. We'll just say that. And we find them in the prologue. We find them on the retreat already, and it's like intense. But then it goes backwards. It rewinds backwards to the night of their anniversary, and the guy is coming home with the intent of breaking up with his wife. He already has his bags packed for Cabo with another woman. He's ready to go and tell her bye. He gets there and there's a note, and she's like, come find me at this address. So he goes there intending to break up with her still. And he finds that they're at this like retreat. And it's 7 days, 7 questions. And it's kind of like you're in this isolated log cabin, and it's kind of trying to help you reconnect. However, we are getting both perspectives, and she seems a little off too, in the sense of like there's definitely a secret she's keeping, a past that she doesn't want to reveal. And when they're at this Eden retreat, like nobody in the like town really like people that come to this Eden retreat, so it's kind of scary, it's kind of intense. And like I said, with that prologue, like you know somebody's gonna die and you don't know who, and you need to figure out how you're gonna get there. And it was very interesting. It's definitely slower, it's not like necessarily an intense page turner, but it's definitely got that eerie quality. And like because you don't know what's really going on. And then the ending kind of reminded me like that Gone Girl-esque, where like when Gone Girl ended, you kind of left yourself conflicted. Like, is this gonna go? What? Like, you like start to question your ethics a little bit, and like, do you really side with this couple? Are you rooting for them in the end? Like, you don't really like. I don't know. I still like am conflicted about this. So if you read this one, like, let me know. We can have a little chat. But I thought this one was really interesting and really different, and I gave it 4 stars. I was so excited for this next book, guys. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. So if you didn't watch my book haul, I pre-ordered this one based off of a Facebook ad with the cover. I saw the cover and I was like, I need to have it. It's beautiful. I knew nothing about it. Nobody was talking about it at the time. And then I got it and it blew up like big time. And I was like, oh my God, it's blowing up. I need to read this before the hype gets too high, because if the hype gets too high, I'm going to hate it. And I just don't want, I want to give the book a fair chance, because I bought it not knowing anything and I didn't think it was going to be popular. I just thought it was a random book on Facebook, right? I gave this one 5 stars. Hype is real, guys. Like, I don't want to, the hard part is like, I think the hype is worth it, but I'm scared for people who get like too hyped, because I don't want them to hate it. And this book was so good, though. It's like Hunger Games-ish with dragons, and just, it was such a fun experience. There's love and romance, so it's like, I should have said that in my book haul. I forgot to say that in my book haul, but there's like romance in it, adult romance. Like this is like new adult, so it's not necessarily that young adult, but it just like spoke to that young adult heart of like reading Hunger Games and Divergent, and like having that like political intrigue and murder and people trying to kill you, and like dragons. Did I say about dragons? Because the dragons were like one of the best parts of this entire book. They are fantastic. There's a little bit of a love triangle, even though like there's definitely a right choice in this love triangle. Fantastic. 5 stars. I cannot wait till the next book. I cried in this book. It just, oh, chef kiss. I already have the sequel pre-ordered, so I'm excited. So I keep thinking that I hear my daughter, because she's watching a movie right now, and I keep thinking I hear her. So if you catch me like looking, I'm checking to see if she's peeking on in. I started reading the Chain Gang AllStars, which I had pre-ordered. I was so excited for it. I got it in the mail. I started listening to it on Libro FM, and I DNF'd this one. I had such high hopes for this one. I got the message without finishing it. This was another one that fell victim to too many character perspectives that I just did not care. I just got lost in, who's this again? Have we met this person before? How does this connect already? Like, it felt like a very disconnected, disjointed story for me, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I don't really have that much time left in this book, but I just like could not, I didn't care. There's also a lot of vulgar language in here, so like it made me uncomfortable as I was like listening to it, because I tend to listen in the car with my kids in the car, and I was just like, this is swearing way too much, and I got the whole point. So it's basically like set in kind of this world, like it's kind of supposed to be, I'm assuming it's like kind of dystopian, but like instead of like the normal prison system. We have made the prison system into an entertainment system. So we're kind of going back to like gladiators, and we're basically having these prisoners fight to the death, and that's kind of their punishment. And I get what it was trying to say about our like prison system and like the direction it's going in and how we need to stop it, and like we need to have a better system of rehabilitation. And so like I get what it was trying to say, but I could not finish it. So I ended up DNFing it. I ended up returning my pre-order because I never even cracked the spine open. Because I listened to it, so it went back to the store. And then I read Dirty Laundry by Disha Bose. Now this was another, like, we're about to hit this phase of like I should have DNF'd so much. Like this, I ended up giving 3 stars, but it was one that I really wanted to DNF. This is following this like neighborhood of women, and kind of they're all like weirdly interconnected, and we know that one of them, or someone, I should say, not one of them, but we know someone is going to die based off of like what happened in the beginning. And so like we kind of start following these women, and like they're all in weird relationships, and they all kind of like hate each other. It was just like messy and kind of dull. And like when the ending happened, like I was like, okay, I could kind of wrap my head around the ending. Like it surprised me. I didn't see that coming, and like I understand, like I got it, but I don't know. I found it rather dull. So even though I'm giving it 3 stars, it's definitely closer to a 2-star than a 4-star in my head. It's actually rather forgettable. Like I've already kind of forgotten a lot of what happened in this book. Now that I'm talking about it, it's like jogging more, but like it's not one that I would continue to recommend. So there's that. Speaking of another one I should have DNF'd, Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld. Guys, I don't know where the hype is with this one. I gave this one 1 star. This was torture. This was absolute torture. When it comes to Book of the Month books, I have a weird thing of like, I really don't like to DNF them. Like, I will only DNF them like if I absolutely have to. Like, especially now that the challenges have been introduced, like, I am very much like, if I'm going to mark it as read on Book of the Month because I want to clear my shelf, my like digital shelf on there, like, I have to actually read the books. So I started this one on a weekend where I was already like dealing with this slump. I was already dealing with the Chain Gang slump, especially after like having my 5-star Fourth Wing, and I was like trying to find another 5-star read, and I was like, I need something simple and fun, and I was like, romantic comedy. It's a comedy show writer. This is gonna be great. This was not great. This was not great. I complained to my husband so much while reading this book. He was like, stop talking to me about it. I don't care. And I was like, I know, but you don't understand. So we're following a woman. She writes for a show called The Night Owls, and they shortened it to TNO, which is very similar to SNL. So she works for them, and she has kind of had it like all of her male coworkers are all dating these beautiful women, but you never see it the opposite, where like beautiful men don't date ugly girls. So I'm going to create a sketch about that. Also, we have this new, like, this person who's going to host the show, but he's also the music talent, and he's going to write a piece with her, and like they're going to fall in love. So this sounds perfect, right? Romance comedy. This is lovely. Yeah, no, it was not lovely. Not lovely at all. The whole first section, you could kind of, like, there weren't necessarily chapters, but you could, like, find stopping points, because it was, like, Monday, 7:32, like, Monday, 1:10, Tuesday, 11:29, so, like, you could kind of, like, find places to stop, but it was, like, all of them trying to get to this show, and I was like, cool, fine, whatever. Boring, like, they were just, like, on and on and on about work. If she references her show quite often. It's called TNO, like I said. I counted at one point, I was on page like 62, and she had said TNO 58 times or something bizarre. Like, I can't remember. Like, I counted, I lost count at one point, but I was like, that's too many times. And like, once I was like aware of it, like I couldn't stop counting them, and I was like, if she references her show one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm like, you can call it the show. You can call it the production. You didn't even need to refer to it half the time. I was like, why? Like, there was one page where TNO was written 4 times, and I was like, we don't need that. It's too, I get where you work. I know where you work. You don't need to keep referencing it. Like, it's like I work at a school. You don't hear me name drop the school 70,000 times. Like, it doesn't happen because I don't refer to my workplace that often. Like, it was too much. And then we hit a second part where it's just all emails. And I'm like, this is okay. At least I can read this fast. And then the last 100 pages, I think it was, if not a little bit more than that, was all one chapter. Okay, so chapter 3 starts in page 204, and the book ends on 300. Okay, so essentially 100 pages straight. No chapter breaks, no nothing, just straight 100 pages of text. And like, this takes a COVID turn. I'm going to give you that as a trigger warning because COVID is involved in here. And just like, I don't know, because that very first section, like, they did have slight interactions as a couple, but like, not really. Like, I don't understand this love. Like, they went from, like, they worked together for about a week. She does something that, like, breaks them apart. They don't talk to each other for another, like, 3 years or something like that. Then they have this email exchange. Then they get together for, like, 2 days, and they're already like, I love you. I love you. We need to be together forever. And I'm like, you literally don't know each other. You literally don't know each other at all. I was very infumed. I'm sorry if I spoiled anything in that, but literally that was the worst book I have read in a long time. I was so frustrated by that book. It was bad. Okay, moving on, because this is better. I read Paper Names by Susie Lau. This book was very good. Now, this was another character-driven story. We're following 3 people. See, this is my thing. I like when we follow less than 10 people, right? 3 people, following 3 people. And one is a father. He has moved his family over to America. He is working kind of as a doorman. He was working as an engineer in his previous life when he was living in China, but he has moved there to give his daughter a better life. We're following the daughter. We are also following a man that lives in the building that he was a doorman for. And it's really just like this look at identity and understanding what it kind of means to be an American to like somebody who was born in China and came over here. Well, she was too, but like, she was such a child when she was brought over here that she doesn't know much different. And then the other man is white, and kind of seeing how their lives kind of intertwine and like different expectations. And there's something that kind of happens that kind of intertwines their lives for the next bunch of years. So we're following that. And it was a very interesting time. I listened to this one on audio, which I thought was a really nice way to listen to it. Every now and then, like, I got kind of confused as to like where we were moving in the time a little bit, but still really enjoyed it. And I gave this one 4 stars. Definitely can be a bit emotional, but definitely a well worth it read. So 4 stars for that one. So that was exciting. And then I ended up listening to The Hill We Climb because it is, for some stupid reason, getting banned in Florida because one parent said that it was not appropriate for students and that it was pushing hate, and so they banned it. And I was like, this is ridiculous. So I gave it a listen. I don't think I've really listened to it since the inauguration, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a listen. I don't know if it gives Amanda Gorman anything or I just wanted to boost her stats. So I was like, I'm going to listen to it and push it out there, remind people how important that message is that she shared with us that day. And I just was like, we're going to re-listen to it. And it's 5 stars. Fantastic. It's beautiful. And it breaks my heart that one parent can get something like that banned just because they said so. And when they put it in to get banned, they didn't even say it was by Amanda Gorman. They said it was by Oprah Winfrey. She has a little opening in this book, but like, it is not by Oprah Winfrey. Like, she got a band and she wasn't even accurate with her information. Like that it just broke my heart. So I went and I listened to it and I gave it 5 stars. I've got The Social Engagement by Avery Carpenter Foray. I listened to this one on audio. I listened to this one through Libro FM. I got this copy sent to me through Biblio Lifestyle, so I was really excited to get to this one because like I knew I would be able to listen to it before my review was supposed to be posted, or like my like spotlight was supposed to be posted. I was like, I could do my spotlight and my review at the same time. Check. So I did that. This is following a woman who we meet her. It's her wedding night. She is in a bathtub. Her dress has spaghetti sauce all over it. Her room is passed out in his bed. And she is like, I've been married 7 hours and it's already down the drain. Where did I go wrong? And she started scrolling through her Facebook and like her phone to figure out what went wrong in this last year and how she got here. This is messy. The audio narrator, that was really fun to listen to. Like I really enjoyed her voice. But it's messy and it's really a good look at like sometimes like you end up in a place and you're like, how did I get here? And it's kind of that message of like it's okay to self-reflect and kind of go back and figure out what happened. And it kind of takes a look at how like even like I think we think about things going wrong because there's this big tragic event, but like it's not always that. So it kind of takes that look at like work and friendships and romantic things and like different things that kind of can like those smaller things add up to a bigger impact. So I ended up giving this one 3 stars because there was some messiness to it that I just like didn't necessarily care for. And by the end it felt rather long and I just kind of wanted not that I wanted more of a look at this wedding, but I just felt like there was a lot of focus on her with this other man. And I was like, but you're not even who she's marrying. So I would like to like take a break from you and get to see somebody else. And every now and then, like the timeline would like jump even further back than the year. And I would be like, wait, where are we? What's happening? Where are we? There is a lot of trigger warnings. She's very aware that she feels very big. She refers to her weight quite often. There is an eating disorder in here. There is adultery, like I mentioned. And like, there were some things that just got a little bit more repetitive than I would have liked. But overall, I feel like there are things that people can take away from this. It just wasn't like my next favorite book. So I gave it 3 stars. And the books that I am currently reading, which we will talk about in my next wrap up, I'm currently reading Warrior Girl Unearthed by Angeline Boulley. I'm currently reading Lone Women by Victor Lavelle. And I'm also currently reading Small Game by Blair Braverman. So like I said, I will wrap you up about these in my next wrap up. This one's getting rather long and I would just rather push it over. So yeah, so I had a very interesting end of May so far. And if I wanted to give you a read on it, I'm liking this one. This one is different. And I'm liking this one. So hopefully that'll mean that the end of my May will be pretty good. But like I said, anything else that I read will be wrapped up in my next wrap up. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you've read any of these down below. Oh, I did this in my last video too. They're never the right way. Let me know if you've read any of these down below. And I will see you guys really, really soon. Bye, everybody.